Okay, well, I'm coming in to do my live stream, and then I realize my son, who very generously has packed all my stuff up yesterday, packed everything but my Bible. But I remember where we're at, and I don't need my Bible with my notes in order to do my live stream. But this will give me an opportunity to use a different Bible. You're going to have to 1 second. I'm going to have to lift with my back and not with my legs and not with my back. Let's see here. My uncle gave me this. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, very convenient. I just carry it around with me just in case someone wants to do a Bible study. Now, let's see here. Oh, mama. Let's see if I can actually open this thing without breaking it. Okay. Esther, Psalms, Ezekiel, we're too far. Jeremiah, Isaiah. Ooh, there's a picture. What's the picture? Birds of the Bible. The swallow, the peacock, the stork, the pelican, the eagle. Song of Solomon, chapter 5. It's right there where the pictures are. How cool. Here, watch this. Yeah, look at that. Those are the pictures I was saying. Yeah, anyway. And I think it comes with like Matthew Henry's commentary. Pretty legit. All right, anyway. A little different than normal. So, pretty certain this is King James. Now, I was only going to do a few verses anyway this morning. Then we can take the whole bigger picture tomorrow, because that's actually more than the chapter, I think. So we mentioned, I think that verse 1 of chapter 5, it really belonged back in chapter 4. It's kind of like the finale of the wedding night. But now, time has passed, and does it not? Right? Now we've moved forward in their relationship. They've been married now for some time. Good morning, Alejandra. You know what it's like, to be in a relationship for a long time and how things change over time. That's the thing, is that we've been married and you've had kids and life's gone on, and you know what? It's not like it was back during the honeymoon. Unlike Steve, who's a newlywed. Though you've got some other experience too, I guess. But, they're the reality of it. And it's a great thing to have in mind. Obviously it doesn't sound very Christian approved, but whatever. Like those who are in second marriages. You guys ought to have learned a lot from the first one. Hopefully going into the second one with wisdom that you never had in the first one. And, it's that kind of wisdom that we ought to be teaching our children so that they can go into marriage successful. This is like a rabbit trail, but I mean, it really does relate to our text from this morning, because, again, we're going to go into their marriage and start seeing marriage problems. We're going to go deeper into their marriage. We don't know how far forward we're jumping in our story, but we see how that happens, is that newlyweds have this everything's so amazing, and when that wears off, marriage then becomes work. And you guys likely know the feeling, even like last night at church. There have been seasons in our lives where we're on fire for God. And when we're on fire for Jesus, when we're in a season of revival, in a season of just a mountaintop, serving him doesn't feel very hard. But most of our Christian experience will probably not be spent on the mountaintop. And in other seasons, it feels more like work. Does that mean we quit? No. But that's how marriage needs to work too, right? Is that it doesn't always feel like a mountaintop. But we don't quit just because it's a little bit more work than it used to be. It's a commitment we've made. And if we keep investing in that commitment, well, we're going to experience more mountaintops, and we're going to experience a richer, better time. And, you know, I think it may have been E.M. Bounds. I'm not sure, though. It was some really wise dead guy. When he was asked, you know, well, what's the point? If you guys still experience highs and lows, mountains and valleys, what's the point of even trying? Like, I experienced those too. He goes, right. But over the years, my mountains have gotten higher, and so have my valleys. And his point is that I experience valleys still, and those valleys are still tough. But he goes, but if I actually objectively looked at my valleys, I think my valleys might actually be higher than my old mountaintops used to be. One last thing before we get back to our text. Alejandro, you still got some young kids? Steve, I don't know all the age of you. I think I know some, but I remember listening to a message. I think this was Vodi Bakum, and he's got some great stuff on family. I really love his heart and just the wisdom he has when he talks about family stuff and marriage and parenting. And he made the point, he was talking about, you know, talking to some other Christian couple and, you know, well, blah, 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 you know, training your children for marriage. And they're like, you know, you mean training for marriage? He goes, well, it's amazing. This is a really good word of wisdom here. Parents from birth, they will be thinking about what college their kid's going to go to. And they're going to buy them a little UW or WSU onesie for the baby. And come by middle school, I mean, for sure, by middle school, they're already starting to warn them that, you know, your grades when you get in high school, they're going to matter what college you get to go to. And grandma and grandpa or mom and dad, someone, they put money aside because of what college that kid's going to go to. They're going to need some money for that college. And so you make sure they take the right classes, and you make them study at home, and you've got them into sports because maybe they'll get a scholarship so they can go to that college. Now, I cared a lot less than most of my peers. But even if people did care, I want to say that most adults who are past the age of 40, who did go to college and did get a degree, where's that degree hanging right now? You know, was it that big of a deal? Did that college really change your life? Now, if you go to a different college, would that have changed your life? I mean, some of us needed college to get our jobs, but when it was all said and done, was it really that big of a deal? But here's the point. Your kids are going to get married. And most parents spend literally no time specifically, directly teaching and training their young children to prepare for marriage. You tell me now, adults, what's more important and what's more impactful and what is more consuming in your day-to-day life? Your college experience or your marriage? We'll go through every hoop and loop to teach our kids what they need to go to college, and yet, like, expect them to go off and be successful in marriage with no training and no words of wisdom. No, I am telling my sons now, Benny's 7, and those kids, those boys, they get laid into if they are mean, if they hit one of their sisters, because that's not how you treat a woman. And we're starting to work on things like, no, I don't care that you're your sister, but you're going to start holding doors open for them and things like that. Jubilee is being very well trained with, you know, she does diapers, she makes this. They all cook. All the kids cook. But teaching them now qualities in life and teaching Judah. You know, here's my 12-year-old, but when my wife loses it, trying to then teach him, look at her, look at how she's acting. And well, it's because she's hurting, Judah. And it's this stuff that's leading to that. Now, we don't want that from her. So here's what we're going to do to try and support her and help her, bring her back where we want her to be, right? And like, one day you're going to need to do this with your wife, son. And so we train them. Now, I said this is not just a one-off because I didn't have my Bible. Because I got the cool Bible. If you came in late, you missed out. You better go rewind and check out the cool Bible. But in verse 2 of chapter 5 of Song of Solomon, it says, I sleep, but my heart waketh. It is the voice of my beloved that knocketh, saying, Open to me, my sister, my love, my dove, my undefiled. For my head is filled with dew, and my locks with the drops of the night. So she's in bed. He is coming and trying to enter her bridal chamber. You know, back then, you know, with the queen and the king, and I mean, she had her own room. And so he's knock, knock. I want to come in and be with you. And do note his words, my dove, my undefiled, you know, my sister, my love. He doesn't sound like he's changed at all. Now, don't act like your groom hasn't changed, but this is a picture of our Lord. His love for us is steady and unchanging. But listen to her. Verse 3. Well, I've put off my coat. How shall I put it back on? I have washed my feet. How shall I defile them? She's taken off her robe or whatever she'd wear to stay warm at night because she's now under the covers. And I mean, things were different back then. And so you had a little wash pot by your bed because your feet would just be dirty and you don't want to bring that dirt in your bed. It's not nice, thick carpeted floors, right? So you'd wash your feet immediately before putting them in the bed in the blankets. So she's saying, well, I mean, I've taken my coat off. How would I ever put it back on again? Now, you don't want to respond to this, but does your spouse make just as good of excuses sometimes? I mean, I've taken my coat off. How could I ever put it back on? But I've washed my feet. Should I defile them again? My beloved put his hand by the hole of the door, and my bowels are moved for him. It's kind of like he goes to kind of like jiggle the lock, like, hey, I'm trying to get in. You've got the door locked. And so she says, I rose to open to my beloved, and her bowels moved. And the idea was like, okay, she wasn't in the mood. She didn't feel like getting up, but you know what? No, I do want to get up. And I rose to open to my beloved, and my hands, my beloved put his hand by the hole. My bowels, I rose to open to my beloved, verse 5, and my hands dropped with myrrh, and my fingers with sweet-smelling myrrh upon the handles of the lock. I opened my beloved, but my beloved had withdrawn himself and was gone. My soul failed when he spake. I sought him, but could not find him. I called him, but he gave me no answer. She opens the door, and on the other side of the door where he was trying to get in, there's perfume on the handle. He had perfume on, you know, and as he touched it, she can smell him. That she was just that close, but he had left. He had tried to make an advance. He tried to spend time with her. And really, he was seeking intimacy. I mean, that's kind of this whole idea, is he was coming to be intimate with his bride, but she rejected him. And so he left. I know a bunch of you guys were there last night. We put a few verses on where, you know, Jesus tells Jacob, come on, let go. Jacob says, I won't let go until you bless me. Jesus asked the 12, do you guys want to go? You can leave me if you'd like. You know, and Peter says, we can't go anywhere. But we looked at Mark on the water where Jesus would have passed them by. We looked at Luke 24 on the road to Emmaus where he would have gone further. What we find is that God lets us know when and where to meet with him. And for many of us, that is the early morning hours. That's not everybody, but for many of us, it is the early morning hours. And the Israelites had to go out and gather the manna, but when the sun arose, the manna melted away. They had to be out there before the sun, or the manna would be gone. And so it's this story here. The Lord desires to spend time with us, but if we want to reject his advances, he'll go on. He's never leaving nor forsaking us. We know that. But that opportunity for intimacy with him and have that special experience with him, you know, if we reject him, he accepts our rejection. But that creates a longing, and that's what we're going to find as we move on tomorrow. We'll probably recap a little briefly what we just looked at, as then she begins to go looking for him. And that's something God will do. God will distance himself from a Christian in such a way that he's never left nor forsaken them, but that it makes them feel like he's not there. One of my favorite pastors always says, sometimes it feels like God is right there because he is right there. And sometimes it doesn't feel like God is right there. And that's because he is right there, not wanting you to feel that he's right there. He's always right there. But sometimes he doesn't want us to feel it because it creates a longing. When we start longing for him again, we are willing to change some of our behaviors because we realize that those behaviors and attitudes got in the way of our relationship with him. So, went longer than I intended, but some other good fun nuggets there on marriage and parenting, etc. So, here is a marriage. It's in the middle of, it's been going a while now, and here the bride wasn't so quick to jump at the knock of her groom, but she'll get her head on straight, and she'll go seek him, and he will be oh so gracious with her. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. God bless you guys.